Hello everyone, this is your boy Genesis Reset and I am back with another video. Hope everyone is feeling fine today. As for myself, I'm doing just fine, and guess what? Just in time for the Super Bowl, right? Who you going for? The Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs? I myself, I like both teams, so it doesn't matter to me. So may the best man win. And if I may say a little something something, do not bet yourself out of a house and home, right? So with that being said, let us continue. The Super Bowl got me thinking about a lesson. It got me to thinking about, in particular, David and Goliath. Now, I have done this lesson before, but I'm going to put a little bit more of a stank to it because I want to talk about a little bit of the fear factor that was really plaguing our people, and that's what's really happening with us. It's a fear factor that it is down to our DNA, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get it up out of us without help. And that is, we need help from the Most High because nobody else is going to help us because we do not have any allies. So, with that being said, I want you to look at this picture right here. You see this big boy right here? I mean, he is huge, right? Standing there like David and Goliath, right? And this brother right here, you see him, he got his protective gear on, he got his helmet on, he got his shoulder pads on, he got them big gloves on. Here you got his knee pads a little bit, shin guards down there to protect him. But in particularly, I don't know the specs of it, but I think the NFL and a lot of things they have things of a more of a lighter mode for you can be movely, for you can move quickly. But it also got to be protective to protect the body parts to keep you from harm and everything, right? So you see this big boy, he just swallowing this little dude right here. He's like grabbing him and pushing him out the way and everything because he's doing his job to protect the football player. And which brings me about to this lesson here about David and Goliath. And I want to look at the specs of everything because, people and movies and Hollywood, they spend millions of dollars and people believe it and whatnot that David slew Goliath and everything like that. And they got millions of dollars and, to film industries and books and everything. But come to find out, David didn't even fight. It was someone else. And we're going to get to that. But before all that, I want you to get a pen and paper because I want you to write down these numbers if you choose to do so. Because I want you to do something that a lot of people have not done, but I want you to do. I want you to do something this. I want you to do this one thing. I want you to count. Can you count suckers? Remember this movie right here, if you haven't, it's called The Warriors, one of the best movies ever made. And I'm not going to go into the theatrics of it, but here it is. You got Cyrus right here. He was trying to gather up all the gangs from coast to coast because the numbers, right? It's all about the numbers because if you have more numbers, you can defeat a lot of things. It also reminds me of the movie Underworld when the Lycans got fed up with the vampires and they all attacked. They had more numbers than them, even though the vampire was of a more more of a more orderly clan. The werewolves was a more of an erratic bunch of groups, right? But they had the numbers. So this is what Cyrus was proposing to all these different groups. This one gang, which probably was going to be his gang that runs everything, but yet and still, they was going to be united to take over the cities and so on and so forth. It was a master plan, masterfully, but unfortunately, something happened to him. But we're not going to get into that part here. But what he had, the idea was the numbers. That was the most important thing about that. And so this is what I want you to take a look at right here. We're just going to take a look at here of the, make sure I get everything right here. I want you to look at the numbered games here. This is what I want us to look at here. All right. Let me move this right here out the way so we won't have no confusion here. Okay. Now we all saw, seen, or read David and Goliath. Here's some of the trailers, what they have put out in Hollywood. A bunch of lies. Because I'm going to show you, if I haven't showed you before, that David, he swooped he didn't swoop Goliath. It was his emissary who David killed because of the numbers of the weight of what Goliath had on didn't make sense at all because he was too heavy. And we're going to look at that. That's why I want you to grab your pen and paper to write down these numbers. All right. So without further ado, let's just do a little quick sneak peek of here, 1 Samuel. Like I said, I'm not going to read everything. But, here it is, the war about to take place. The Philistines on one side and Israel on the other side. And here, as you can see in verse 3 here, make sure here, you can see it. All right, just going to read a little bit. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side, and there was a valley in between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines called Goliath of Gath, who was 6 cubit and a span. I want you to write that down if you choose to do so. And he also had a helmet of brass, right? And he was armed with a coat of mail. We're going to look at all of this. And a coat weighed 5,000 shekels of brass. Okay. He also had greaves of brass upon his legs and a target of brass, right, between his shoulders, right? Basically, he looked at like a football player. This is what he so far he looked at like this here. As far as the equipment, he had the helmet of brass, right? He had the shoulder pads of brass. He also had this maul or this coat I'm going to show you of shekels. He had his greaves, his shin guards. Well, we're going to continue. Okay, hold on here. Okay, here. He had this helmet of brass on his head. He was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat of the mail was 5,000 shekels. He had the greave of brass upon his legs, that's the shin guards, and a target of brass between his shoulders. Those are the shoulder pads, right? But these are not pads. I'm just saying that to get you guys in the time frame of the football player of today and of the past. This is nothing but brass, metal, okay? And also, 7, here he had a staff of a spear. And the spear was like a weaver beam. And his spear head weighed 600 shekels of iron. Remember all these weights here. All right, if you can, write all this down. And one bearing a shield went before him. Let me say that again. And one bearing a shield went before Goliath. All right. So if you can pause it, whatnot, and you can write down these numbers here. These cubics, 5,000 of shekels, target of brass, and so on and so forth. Now, some of them may have weight, some do not, but we are going to continue nonetheless. So here we go. If you can see this right here, here is the definition of a shekel here. A shekel does not weigh the same as a quarter. You can dig in your pocket. You can pull out a quarter. And it says a shekel does not weigh that same. All right. It said a shekel is slightly heavier than a quarter. It is typically weighing around 11 grams, which is a quarter weighs 5.67 grams. So in other words, they are saying that a shekel weighs about a 50-cent piece here. So one shekel weighs about 11.34 grams, right? Now we're going to get to all of this. It's coming up. So you can write this down because we're going to do the little math coming up. So I just want you to remember that the coat, male coat that Goliath was wearing, each piece on there was 5,000, and he had this here weighed, each one of these shekels, these 50-cent pieces, weighed 11.34 grams. Okay, let us continue. And he's talking about a cubit. He said this how much. This how the height of Goliath was. He said he weighed. The height of Goliath was what? Here. So you guys see that? The height of Goliath was 6 cubits and a span. All right, 6 cubits and a span. Now, a cubit here is the height of 18 inches, right? And we're gonna deal with these numbers in a minute. And also, a span is 1.5 foot, right? One span. I'm sorry, no. Let me get that right. I'm sorry. Here's a span. You can see it right here. A span, one span here is 9 inches. Let's continue. Hope I'm not going too fast for you guys, because I got a lot of things to cover here. So we're just looking at a person who is about approximately 9 feet and some change. 9 feet and 9 inches. Pretty tall dude, right? I mean, this kind of like a circus act type of a guy. The height of this right here. Really tall. Lanky. You know. This is just something I just Googled up here. Alright, there's nothing there, but let's go up a little bit more. You can see some of these figures. This will give you a little eye candy on how something would look as a... I forgot how tall Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was. But anyway, this is the specs, give or take. A 9 feet, 9 inch tall guy. Let's continue. Don't forget he had this coat of mail here. Right? Now, let me just, I didn't bring it up, did I? Yes. I did do the math here. And this coat of mail right here weighed about 121 pounds. All right? Now, 121 pounds, this is what that is. This is my own personal dumbbell set here. And if anybody had went to the gym and if they ever done any weightlifting, you know that these 50-pound dumbbells ain't no punk, right? So you got to imagine that this is what Goliath was wearing. Just the male coat, the jersey, put it like that, all right? He was wearing a 121-pound jersey made of 50-cent pieces. And this is the weight right here that you are looking at. That is heavy. Very heavy. Now, so just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue here. Okay, hold on here. Hold on, Goliath. Let us continue. He also had the greaves. Remember the shoulder, the knee pads or the shin guards, right? That was made out of brass. Now, they didn't say what was the weight with that, all right? Now, we can add on an extra, 5 or 10 pounds. We can do that because you had one on the left side, left foot, and one on the right foot, or the left shin and the right shin. So you can add on a little weight with that. All right. And he also had a target of brass, which was what? Was on the shoulder pads up here. Right. Let's see if I bring my cursor up. You see that? The target of brass was up here. So he had a target of brass right here on his shoulders. He had a target of brass. He had a helmet made of brass. He had a jersey of 50-cent pieces made, weighed about 121 pounds. He also had his greaves of his shin guards down here. Was an extra 5 or 10 pounds or whatnot, give or take. But we do not have the numbers on that. But only numbers what we have is on that jersey, and we also have the numbers of coming up here. Let's see here. Weaver beam, right? Let me bring this down here. Okay, make sure. Here's a weaver beam. I'm gonna try to. Oh, can't blow it up. Here. Let me see here. Bear with me. Try to. Oh. Well, that's one of them right there. So they're still the same. So this is a weaver beam, okay? According to here, let's see right here. If you don't believe me, right here. The staff of Goliath spear, the staff, was like of a weaver beam. All right, so here is a weaver beam. It's a long wooden stick. So let's look at what they say about it here. Let me try to move this over so we can all look at it here. Well, it's not really saying, well, you can't see everything here. But you can look at that, and I just want you to look at the stats down here. It's basically what a woman would use to make woven materials here. You know, the woven materials up top, and to get the threads and whatnot. And it said that basically the weaver beam is about 2.5 inches thick down here, and it's about 5 feet long right down there. See that at the bottom? So this is what Goliath staff was. It was 5 feet long and about 2.5 inches thick of wood. Now, it also said this about the spearhead, right? Let's see here. The spearhead weighed about 600 shekels. Right? Now, I did the math, and we're going to do all this math. If you choose to follow along, this math right here was approximately 15 pounds. So imagine a spearhead that weighed 15 pounds. Here is a picture of my dumbbell once again. This right here is 15 pounds here. That's 15 pounds. So we can do the math. If you really don't, I'm quite sure you guys and girls may trust me, but I'm not going to do the math because I know you guys do trust me. But just in case that you don't trust me, we can look at his height. So you see right here. Hold on, make sure oh, you guys can't see it. All right. Let's follow along with me just real quick. All right, let me clear that out. All right. So Goliath, what was the, I hope you guys and girls wrote everything down on a piece of paper. If you didn't, that's okay. He said that he weighed, his height was 6 cubic, 6 cubics, right? So let's go here. Let me see, blah, blah, blah. Let's get here. 6 cubits and a span, all right? So we already discussed. Here, let me make sure. Scroll down and punch out which one. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Here, a cubic is 18 inches. Right? All right. So 18 inches and a few centimeters. Here we go. 18 inches equals 1.5 foot. Okay. So 1.5 feet times, let's get this here. We got 6 times, it's 6 of them, right? Don't forget 18 inches equals 1 cubic feet. It's come about to 1.5. So you have 6 of them. He weighed, I'm sorry, why I keep saying he weighed? He was the tallness of 6 cubics times 18, which is equals out to 1.5 foot. Times 1.5 equals 9 feet. And a span, what is that? 9.5 feet. That's how tall he was. If you didn't believe me, but I'm quite sure that you did. So this is Goliath. He weighed, that's how tall he was. So you met, guys and girls, you remember the movie, The Game of Thrones, when Oberyn was fighting the mountain. And the mountain was a big dude. But Oberyn knew that he was big and slow. So I want you to imagine that Goliath having all this weight on him. He has plenty of weight, but he can't move because he didn't even fight. That is the whole thing about it. That's why I myself can't even understand that. Why would they even say that Goliath was fighting when he wasn't? It was his guy in front of him who was fighting. The one who went before him was fighting. All right? This guy right here. All right? I can do some more math if people want me to. Okay, let's do one more math here. let's see the shekels here. Let's look at this here. All right. Let's say here. Okay. Which one you want to do? Okay, let's do his coat. Let's do his coat nail right here. All right. Said his coat weighed 5,000 shekels of brass. Right. 5,000 50-cent pieces. So 5,000 50-cent pieces. So you have here, you see that up top, weighed 11.34 grams. So let's do the math. Here we go. Let's clear it out. It's clear. So he had 5,000 50-cent pieces on him, right? Because that's how the weight of the shekel was. One shekel. So we have 5,000, right? I'm going to do the math. 5,000, right? Times 11.34 grams. That is the gram weight of his maul or his coat that he had on. So we're going to convert that. We're going to convert 56700 grams. Okay, let's go here to the grams. And let's convert that. 56700 grams, right? As you can see, it is 125 pounds. Here, Goliath was wearing a lot of weight, ladies and gentlemen. If we can count, and not just some of the numbers that we can add on. He had this huge brass helmet on. He had these brass shoulder pads on. He had this jersey on that weighed 121 pounds. He had this long weaver beam that he was holding, and he had this spear that weighed 15 pounds. He had these shin guards right here of brass that weighed, we don't know. He had a lot of weight. But yet and still, Goliath was not fighting. You want to know who was fighting? Let me show you. Like I said before, here, I want you to, I don't know why they lie like that, but this is what they're doing. They are constantly lying. That, you know, he had this weaver beam in his spear. Well, like I said, we just did the weight of his weighed 100 shekels of iron. And our numbers could be off because be honestly, it could be more. So this was a 15-pound spearhead with a weaver beam, and one bearing a shield went before Goliath. So, like I said, Goliath wasn't even fighting. It was this dude right here who David killed. That's who it was. This is the guy who David killed. Whoever Goliath was, at first it could be a statue, but maybe it was a dude, because it didn't say a statue. So we're not going to add on to the scripture. So it was this tall dude who had this long spear with a weight of a spearhead, 15 pounds. He had brass helmet. He had 150-pound jersey on, brass shin guards, the whole lick, right? I mean, he was a big dude. But it doesn't matter how big he was because he couldn't move. It was a fear tactic, basically. It was a fear tactic. Fear. Because intimidation. That's why when the scriptures and everything, when the children of Israel saw this big dude, they ran. They're like, oh man, he's big. But they not even counting to the fact that he's big and slow. So I want you, we all had our share of fights as men and women. And we see somebody this big, and yeah, they'll probably get you if you in a close-knit, confined place. But when you in an open field, all you do, and everybody knows, is that you tire a big dude out or a big girl out. They're going to take a couple of swings, Next thing you know, they breathing hard, eating too much McDonald's, eating too much Burger King, they not lifting, they not working out, too much Pepsi and Coca-Cola, whatever. They out of shape, smoke too many Newports, or Black and Miles, or uh, Marlboros or Pall Malls or whatever the case may be, right? They tired, you already know. But instantly you like, oh no, I'm not gonna go face to face. Listen, I tell you what, if Mike Tyson had all that weight on, you could get Mike. Yeah, he got too much weight on him. 150 pounds. Maybe some of us, your girl, maybe some of you guys and girls may got a girl that weighs about 150 pounds. That's just her. Imagine putting her on your shoulder and you fighting some dude. Now, you just got that. But you're not counting the fact that you got the weight of the helmet. You got the weight, put it like this. You got a brass helmet on your head, a brass shoulder pads right here, right? You look at this dude, right? David and Goliath right here. You got 120 something pound jersey on. You got these you got these brass shin guards on, and you got a long spear and a 15-pound spearhead, and you about to fight somebody. You know doggone where you finna lose. And because your opponent right there ain't got all that weight on. It's an intimidation factor. That's what I'm trying to get you guys and girls to understand, that David and Goliath was an intimidation factor. The story was and they scared the people. When you see something, automatically it's sometimes that fear kicked in. And that's what the objective was. When you see this big dude like this on the football field, you're going to be like, oh man, this dude too big. I can't come up on him. But this is war tactics, what was going on out here in the children of Israel facing the Philistines. And this is who David killed. He put that stone in there and he whacked them, and they lost. The Philistines, they lost because David wasn't scared, because he had the Most High behind him. He's like, who is this dude right here going against the Most High? And David stood on that business. It was the Most High. It wasn't no so-called JC. It wasn't no so-called Christ. That's why I want you guys to understand that right there. He didn't call on no Christ. He wasn't defending no white man on a popsicle stick. It was the Most High that he was defending. It was the honor of the Most High he was correcting to those Philistines. You guys understand what I'm saying? That because somebody puts something in front of you, you don't supposed to bow down to it, because you already standing on your square. You already know who your backup is. You already know who your God is. So any Philistine, any Assyrian, Babylonian, Greek, Russian, all these other different gods or people run up on you, you already know that you are, who you stand on is the Most High. So these people put these different things in front of you to make you scared. You don't supposed to bow down to them, and you don't supposed to worship them, because that's what the Most High told us to do. He said, do not worship wood and stone, or feed into your emotions. And that is what got a lot of our ancestors. That's why a lot of the children of Israel, when they were about to fight the Philistine, they were scared. A lot of them were scared, and they ran. And just like even today, that a lot of people believe in this so-called entity, this new book, this new so-called New Testament, and it's nothing more than a, should I say, fear tactic. You know what I mean? It's nothing more than a fear tactic. It's not even popping up. And that is good. That is what I'm trying to get you guys and girls to understand. That you have to, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And that is true. And that's why we are falling today, because we have a book, a parasitic book that is attached to our Old Testament. And it's doing nothing but giving us fear. Because when you pull the curtain behind, just like right here in the movie of Oz or whatnot, It was nothing but a scared dude behind that, pulling the strings. And if you looked at the history of the so-called that new book, that new parasitic book, uh, it won't even show up. If you look at that parasitic book, you will know who pulling the strings of it, and that's all it is. It's nothing more than a Goliath. You the David, and that new book ain't nothing but a Goliath. It's nothing give you nothing more than fear tactics. That is it. Because you know the truth. You know what it is. All you got to do is just stand on it. Just like David did. David didn't call on nobody. He didn't believe in anything else but what he believed in. And he standed on it. And that's why the Father chose him. Because he couldn't be moved. He couldn't be swayed. He couldn't be bought. He couldn't been intimidated. It is what it is. You know? And it's not for you to, or even David, to ridicule whoever they worship. You know, I don't give a rat's ass if they worship a damn grasshopper. You know, go hop to it. You know, I'm not gonna, shit on your grasshopper god or your white god. If you want to believe that, that is on you. You know, because the Most High don't want no wishy-washy people with him. That's what the Father said. Don't lean to the left or lean to the right. It's just me. I'm your Savior, and there's no God but me. And that's really just simple enough. The Most High ain't making it hard. He ain't intimidating you. The Most High wants you to love him because he made you. He ain't got to scare you. Why? Because the Father loves us. But we are up under this so-called punishment because of what our ancestors have done. But we are innocent. And let me just say one pivotal and very important thing about that, about this so-called New Testament and everything, and talking about sacrifices for sin. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of things. We, as the, I am an Old Testament Israelite, and I just wanted to let everybody know that we are the sacrifice of what our ancestors have done. We are the ones who are being sacrificed, but yet and still we are innocent, ladies and gentlemen. And we are going to reap the glory of it because the Most High know who we are and why we are being sacrificed for what our ancestors have done. But we're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be just fine. But I just want you guys and girls to believe and to, because the Father do not want any wishy-washy. It's like drought. You know how you put somebody in the fire, you put something in the fire, and then all the drought and all the other stuff get burnt out. Why you think, when they say you get cut or and something infection, you remember back in the days and whatnot, they be like, burn it. Burn it to get all the infections out of it. Or put alcohol on it. And when you put alcohol on the sore, what it do? It burns. So that's what we are in a furnace pretty much. We are burning off the infected people. And I don't want you to be burned, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I am doing these lessons here, to get you guys and girls to understand that the Most High, he don't want no straddling defenses. That's not going to happen. That's why you think Moses and whatnot, when they drew the line in the sand, the Levites went down there and smoked a lot of our ancestors, brothers, sisters. It didn't matter. They had to go, and that's why David did what he did. It wasn't no Goliath. Like I said, Goliath didn't even fight. Goliath was too heavy. Goliath was too slow. Goliath was too stupid. He was too dumb to be wearing all of that stuff and you in an open field to fight. Too much weight. Make you slow. You got 100, just the jersey, all in all. Let me make an educated guess. That's 120. Hell, man. I would say he probably was weighing close to maybe 200 some pounds. And some change, if that. Besides his weight. That's not his weight. These are things that moves. When you move, this is steel, ladies and gentlemen. This is not like today. Let me get my guy here. Is he popping up there? Hold on. There we go. Pop him back up. Yeah, my man here. See, this so-called Goliath, this dude wearing all this armor, it moves. You know, move to the left, move to the right. You're not gonna swing that big old weaver beam and hit somebody. Unlike today, this brother right here, his outfit is light, it's quick, but it's strong for him to move around and crush little man right here. I mean, he got him real good. Look at them big old knuckles right there. It's gonna be a good game today too. I don't know who you guys going for, the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said before earlier, I like them both, but I like a good game. I'm going to be here watching it because hey, I'm not a big sports fan, but I do like to watch sports. I mostly play baseball. I went semi-pro, but that's another story here. But that's what I want you guys and girls to get you to understand, man. Fear. Don't be afraid to stand on the Most High because that's their God. That new book is a parasitical virus. It's like a STD that need a penicillin shot. That book ain't for us, Israelites. I'm an Old Testament Israelite, and that is not for us. And the brothers and sisters who choose to worship some white man on a stick, let them have it. Because one other thing, too, another fear tactic, that when you become so scared of something that you try to make it your own, right? That you know that something is such of a lie that you try to make the lie a truth. Like, for instance, they trying to make now this so-called JC character black, and it doesn't. You can make them black, orange, whatever. But that's what fear is. You compromise when you scared. When you're so scared of something, you compromise your intelligence. Now your fear becomes emotional. You're not even thinking rational no more because you are so scared of the outcome and the punishment that you introduced it into your logic consciousness, saying, "Well, it's okay." You bow down to it. Basically, you bend the knee to it. And you try to make it into a safe place for you to live with it. Basically, you are living on your knees. That's basically what it is. And you compromise it, saying that, hey, everybody, we all doing it, so why you not doing it? Because the fear and the punishment is all behind that. I mean, it just rolls downhill, just like shit. It rolls down here, hill. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the lesson for today. Fear tactic. That's all it is. Now, if you look at the numbers, or like I said before, look at the numbers and you will be greatly surprised at that. So, like I said, this is who David killed. Goliath was nothing more than a crash dummy, a poster board, nothing more to give scare tactic. Just like when you look at that so-called entity, white man on a stick with the thorns in his head and all that crap. Fear tactics. That's what that is. Scary movie. Fear tactics. Count Dracula. Fear tactics. Fear. And the Most High told us, don't be like them. Just concentrate on me. And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, who David killed. And guess what? And when he killed the so-called, the man who went before Goliath, the man behind the curtains, they all got scared because he wasn't nothing. And that, have a good game, and peace out, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hold on, let's see. Did I have this one thing here? Yeah, I got this here. If you choose to like one, this is the remembrance of the Most High law, statutes, and commandments. That's the only thing we can do now, y'all, is just to remember, because anything other than that, trying to perform these certain holy days is nothing more than a mockery. Only thing we can do now is just remember. And hopefully that the Most High come and give us our holy days and our holy covenant back. So if you choose to email me, that would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, peace out.